my name's Tony. Welcome to Edinburgh. How are you? Hope you're happy, healthy and well out there. Today we're going back to history. We're going to do a few things, a few historical facts you might not know about the Cowgate area, which is essentially from here to the grass market, to the start of the grass market. So I thought, yeah, we'll walk along and we'll talk about some history on the way. How does that sound? Yeah, sounds good. Before we get started, thank you as always to my incredible patrons who are just amazing. Look at this, the red bistro bus where you can have afternoon tea driving about town. Did you know that? Yeah, there you go. But yeah, hi. Wave to the people on the bus. So that's what we're doing today. Let's go for a little wander. So, there used to be, as you know, Edinburgh was a walled-in city, but up here there was the wall, the gates. There was a gate here. I couldn't think of the words there. There used to be a gate here, much similar to the one that was further up where the Edinburgh port is, which I've showed you many times with the gold plaques in the Royal Mile. It's just up there, that part there. The wall would come down here, all the way down here. The gate would be here. And you can see a little old wall there. That is still part of the Flodded wall. If you've never seen me trace that route, have a look. But there was a gate here into the Cowgate, but it wasn't called the Cowgate. It was called the Cowgate Port, because port meant gate or entrance. So there we go. So although it's called the Cowgate, the full title of the entrance was the Cowgate Port. I know, random. And then all the cattle would be taken up this way, up to the grass market to be sold. Now the reason they were taken up this way is because this technically wasn't part of Edinburgh at the time. It's one of the original first parts to be engulfed into Edinburgh when Edinburgh started to expand a little bit. Actually, when the Flodded Wall was built, it was sort of taken in then. But prior to that, it was illegal to herd cattle up the streets of Edinburgh, so they were brought this way, taking it to to the grass market. I think technically it was 1330s that it kind of first started to exist, and actually on some maps it's not down as Cowgate, it's down as Via Vicarum, which translates as Way of the Cows. There you go. This is St Patrick's Church. Right here, and this, believe it or not, had an impact on Scottish football, or soccer if you're watching from other parts of the world. The birth of Hibs football team kind of started from this right here, but that's for a different day. If you're interested in that, I'll let you go look up your own story there. But with that, this area here for a little while got the nickname of Little Ireland, because during the potato famine there was obviously a bit of an exodus, people leaving Ireland looking for work and things like that, and this area here became known as Little Ireland because a lot of Irish immigrants came and lived in this area. So history wise, the place has been two different things. At one point it was where all the posh people lived, and then it became completely different and became where the slums were. How did that happen? Well, let me tell you. Up there is, well, the Royal Mile, so essentially Edinburgh. And down here, for a long, long time, this wasn't Edinburgh, remember? It was another route to the side of Edinburgh, a road alongside Edinburgh, truthfully, but it wasn't Edinburgh. So, the money of Edinburgh, the people with the money, actually like to live just outside, which has not really changed now, you know what I mean? Essentially commuting, but on a far lesser scale. Not a long commute at all, a 1 minute walk. But so the rich people, the people with money, used to stay down here. There used to be some grand houses down here, but during the building of the new town, all the money moved. All the money moved from down here, and they moved to George Street, because Edinburgh was massively overcrowded, and I'm not going into why the new town was getting built, but so all the people with money moved away from here and they went to George Street. They went to the new town over the other side of the Royal Mile, and then this became the slum area. All the houses that were big and grand were kind of taken over and became by no means nice at all. Far more, well, slum. It was called a slum area, and it stayed like that for a long time. The underground of Edinburgh definitely sort of moved in here, especially with the arches, the bridge here, North Bridge. So that's one of 19 arches on the bridge there. The other arches go inside the building, so they're in between those two tall buildings, and this is kind of part of the design. Upper half where the money was, lower half where where everyone else was, really. In fact, the two-tier system, Ravi Burns even commented on, you could be up here in the posh area and looking down, literally looking down on those below you. I mean, that's kind of harsh, isn't it? But that's kind of the way of it. And just in case you wonder, there's the last cow on the Cowgate. I think it's got a name. It was named, yeah, it's underneath there. Oh, the bus is no helping. What is it? What is it with me and buses? I just have no luck. There we go. I think it officially got called the Toon Coo Cellar. And the side name the cow. There you go. There's the only cow in the Cowgate. So there you go. There's a little bit of the darker history. And like I said, these arches continue on. The only reason you can't see them is because there's buildings either side of them. There are two-tiered buildings, the lower half of the building with an entrance, and the bridge top level with an entrance. I've done a video on that before. You can go back and find that. I'll leave a link, as well as a link on to the one about the flooded wall tracing the route. I've done lots of videos on this sort of stuff, haven't I? So yeah, and then the underground of Edinburgh very much took over the arches in there, because you can get into them. They were designed to get into for the businesses, so that businesses would have places to store their goods, but they weren't waterproof, so the businesses moved out and the underground of Edinburgh moved in. I know I'm skimming over all of that, but technically it's not really Cowgate history, it's just the history of that thing. So there we go. Now let's move along. Here's another. These are all facts you can show off to your friends with. My head is full of rubbish, isn't it? Now these are newer buildings, obviously, but right here, College Wynd and things. The original buildings that were here, this is where Sir Walter Scott was born. So there you go. Didn't live here long, he was just born here, and then his family moved to George Square. So really not long at all, but no, this is the site. I don't think there's a plaque or anything. Maybe in there there is. So university kind of buildings now, student accommodation and stuff, but yeah, which maybe Sir Walter Scott would have liked. This is it. Another little random fact for you to show off to your friends with. On a completely different note, it's nice to see more of this down here now. Hopefully this can continue, little cafes and things, because this was nothing for a long time. Like, there was nothing here. A couple of nightclubs, which when I was younger used to be great. I don't know if they are now, been a long time, but it's nice to see stuff like that popping up here. Needs more of that. And then we hit the oldest surviving building on the Royal Mile here. This is now the Three Sisters pub. And another old haunt of mine, if you'll excuse the pun for being in Edinburgh, but it wasn't always that. Started off as Tailors' Hall for the Guild of Tailors. So I'd love to have a wee explore in that if I ever got the opportunity. But there you go. Next time you're in there, you can tell people when you're done, do you know this is the oldest building in the Grass Market? They might not believe you, you know, because you might have one or two libations in you by that point, but it is. I don't think a lot of people know that one. Again, if we look up there, when you see the posher people of Edinburgh would literally, as people are looking down from up there right now, be looking down on the slums of Edinburgh. And then the last thing to tell you here, this little church that, you know, blink and you'd miss it. This little church right here, which unfortunately I can't remember the name of, but it'll tell me in a second here. The Magdalene Chapel, there we go. I couldn't remember the name of it, thankfully. It's written on it. It's a decent age. I can't remember the age of it. I'm kind of hoping there's something on there that'll tell me. 1541. 1541? Maybe not, that's a different thing. Anyway, doesn't matter, that's not what I was going to talk about. Here's a couple of facts for you to share with. That's beautiful actually. Now look at it, that's stunning. I've never really looked at that before. But here's a couple of facts for you. Mary Queen of Scots' mum, so you know, all of the Mary Queen of Scots' mum used to go there and host I don't know if you want to call them sermons or things in there. Let's get a better shot of it all. There we go, look at that. Yeah, Mary Queen of Scots' mum used to go in there, and in there is the only surviving stained glass window that predates the Reformation here in Scotland. So when Scotland changed from a Protestant nation to a Catholic nation, during that time all the stained glass windows in churches and things around Scotland were broken, kind of as a, it's too grand, you know what I mean, too opulent, which is a thing they had against the Catholic Church, to be more reformed and things like that. Anyway, it's the only one that's still surviving in there. Now, I did try to research to find out why that one survived, and truthfully the area it's in, the only reason that it wasn't broken was purely just because they're like, well, it's letting the light in, we need the light just now, and stopping the weather instead of, you know, boarding up or something. So it just survived through practicality, and then missed the point where they were destroying them instead. So just luck, pure luck, that it kind of just survived, not because it was hidden away or anything like that. Anyway, there you have it. I hope that's okay today. I've enjoyed that. I went on one of my rants. I haven't done that for a while, going on a ramble and going on a rant and just talking history and getting sidetracked. Oh, I used to do that all the time, remember? I enjoyed that. Stuff just spewing out my head. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, as always, leave a like, leave a comment, please subscribe, and also go check out my other channels as well on TikTok and Instagram and all these sort of things, and Facebook. Please come join me over there as well. But thank you as always. Till next time, bye humans.